So the month of September, we'll call it a September adherence challenge. So just adhering to what your protocol is. And each person obviously has, different workouts, different daily habits, different nutrition goals and whatnot. But this is kind of how it will work. So you'll get 5 points for any cardio activity completed. So, that's like any additional things if you go for a bike ride or if you sign up for a fitness class, whatever. A workout. So if you get one of your workouts done, that's another 5 points. If you complete one of your daily habits, that's 5 points. If you hit a personal best, so meaning if you hit a PR, if you pick up a weight that you've never hit before, or you do, if you're actually making progress in the gym, that's another 5 points. And then 5 points if you hit your daily nutrition goal. So everything is 5 points. It's very even. Like I said, some people have more workouts than others. Some people are following a more specific nutrition plan. Some people have more daily habits. So it should all equal out to be a pretty even playing field. It looks kind of like boring right now because it hasn't started yet, but when it officially launches on September 1st, you'll be able to see it on your main homepage. So when you open your Frequency app, it'll say that you are in a challenge. There will be like a leaderboard. So it'll have like all your little faces and you kind of get to the end. The end is September, I don't know, 30th, however many days are in September. And then, as you get points, you guys kind of beat each other, just like the game of like Candyland or something like that. So yeah, really fun, really cute, pretty simple. At the end, the winner will receive a free supplement as well as $50. So very exciting. And I'll probably make you the client spotlight client of the month as well. So you'll get a little post on Instagram, which is very exciting. So just some extra motivation. I think everyone could use, those random bursts of a challenge, some sort of like accountability. So everyone will be in it. Everyone will be able to see where each other are as well. So you'll be able to see where you're at in the ranking as that bit of drive. So yeah, $50 is on the line. All right, let's get into intuitive eating. So this is something that I feel like I hear a lot. Has everybody heard of intuitive eating? I'm just curious, maybe put it in the chat or say something out loud if you haven't, if anybody is unfamiliar with intuitive eating, and no shame, no judgment, just curious as to what the thing looks like here. I feel like everybody probably has an idea. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. So eating intuitively is kind of how most people kind of look at it. So there's a caveat to it though. So intuitive eating, what is it? If you look it up, I mean, there's not like an official definition, it's not like in the dictionary, but as far as all the research that I've done, as far as, just like Googling it and finding other people's opinions of what a definition or at least the meaning behind it, it's literally you make peace with all types of food, which I thought that was beautiful. So to really sit on that, and I think a lot of times people think that they are intuitively eating, yet they do not have peace with all types of food. So that's kind of what this call is going to be. It's going to be a little bit of sort of like a reality check on where you're at with intuitively eating. And I'll tell you that that's the end goal of this whole thing. Majority of you guys are tracking macros. Some of you guys are just tracking calories. Some of you guys are just uploading pictures of your meals, depending on where you're at with your relationship with food or your fitness journey or whatever. I coach each client very personally and differently. But no matter where you're at, the end goal for when you're out of frequency and for the rest and the majority of your life is to be able to intuitively eat, to make peace with all types of food, and to be able to tap into your intuition and know what to eat, when to eat, why you're eating it. So this would mean if you are intuitively eating, which next time you hear somebody say this, or if you are deeming, oh, I'm just going to intuitively eat today. Wow, that was like the biggest lightning strike. I don't know if you guys even saw like reflect off my face. That was crazy. Just kind of have this little checklist. So if somebody's intuitively eating, there's no restrictions. There's nothing that's extreme, whether they're extremely restricting or going all in on one thing or whatever. There's no emotional ties around food. That means it's not like, oh, I've had a rough day, I deserve some ice cream. Or I feel so terrible after that pizza, I should not have had that. Why would I do that? I'm going to push off breakfast tomorrow morning. Or muffins are going to make me fat. There's way too many carbs in them, blah, 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 whatever. Okay, so any of those like emotional ties, certain foods make you very happy. Certain foods make you very sad. Certain foods give you guilt. There's also no good food or bad food. So no thoughts around that. No, does not pass your mind of, oh, this is good. Oh, this is bad. There's a lot of listening to your own hunger and fullness cues, and it's easy. You're not You don't eat a meal and then you're like, "Oh my god, I really overate," you know? You know right away. You're able to tap in, you're able to slow down, take a couple deep breaths between each bite. And it also is like, "Oh, wow, I have no idea when I get hungry." You probably are on a schedule, which is definitely where I'm at, and again, that hopefully that's the end goal of majority of you guys. You wake up hungry, maybe right around noon you're hungry, maybe another meal around 4, another meal around 8. You're kinda like turn into a clock. That's great. You also have this is the most important part. You have knowledge on the nutritional contents of each food. So I feel like all of these things above this bullet point was kind of like your mindset around food, making sure that there is no shame, no guilt, no extreme pleasure around food. But the biggest and most important thing is that there is knowledge and education around food and the nutrients. You're eating with a purpose to fuel, to heal, to nourish, to enjoy, right? Like there's no reason for the food other than there's an intention behind the food, I guess I should say. There's a purpose behind the food, whether you're purposely trying to heal something or you're intentionally trying to get a specific nutrient in that meal or for that day or whatever that is. There's no signs of binging or obsession, being obsessed with, oh my gosh, is this 5 more grams, 5 more calories, weighing everything, which again, I know right now a lot of you guys are in the food scale phase, in the tracking phase. That must come first. You won't know. You won't know enough about foods and the nutrients in each food or, be able to eyeball and estimate and know why you're eating certain foods or what the contents are unless you go through the schooling of it. So being able to discern what types of food would best nourish your body at any given moment. So that's a really beautiful thing too, is when you're able to be like, wow, my body needs some carbs right now. My body needs some fats right now. I really need some electrolytes. I can feel that I'm low on magnesium or potassium or sodium. That's a big one that, eventually you'll be able to literally feel, but you won't know until sort of thing, until there's a lot of effort and intentionality behind the education of the foods that you're eating. And then knowing when you're fully satisfied based off of your body's signals, not your brain's signals. I think that's the biggest thing is you're getting really in tune, you're speaking the same language, there's that complete coherence between mind and body, and there is not that separation. 3 signs that you are not ready to intuitively eat. So I think this is definitely one of my favorite points of this little slide we got going on. So number 1, you've never actually tracked and followed macros long enough to know what is in the food that you're eating. Okay. Not only do you have to do it, but you have to do it for a good amount of time. I'd say a good rule of thumb is 3 to 6 months of consistently tracking. And if you look at the grand scheme of life, that's really not that long. 3 to 6 months of your life of consistently tracking. And during those 3 to 6 months, we want you to go out to a restaurant and be able to kind of like estimate or look up different variations of food and go through holidays and go through a birthday. We want real life events. We're not trying to put you in a bubble because then what happens when you go on vacation or what happens when you go eat at grandma's house? Like we want those things to come up. So that's why we need the 3 to 6 months. And then once after you do that, you really don't ever have to track food again unless you intentionally want to change your body composition. So that's the thing here is that intuitive eating is not going to be your way to change your body composition. And that's okay. Again, ideally your whole life is not going to be revolved around constantly losing fat or constantly growing your glutes. And I think that's when a lot of women come to me and they're kind of sick of it. They've been dieting their whole lives. They've been trying to lose fat their whole lives. It should not be like that. There should be a specific phase, 3 to 6 months. The most important way, most effective way you'll do that is by tracking food. We'll be able to know how to get there. And then now you have that tool for the rest of your life. You know how to adjust your own macros. You know how to intuitively eat when you're not, having any body composition change goals. The second sign you're not ready to intuitively eat, you are still emotionally tied to food. So you feel guilty or sad, or you have out of control cravings, or you have no idea like why you're eating these things, and or certain things make you very happy. You have to celebrate with things, whatever it is. So if there's any emotions tied with food, that's okay. You're just not in a place to intuitively eat. And again, this is the end goal. So I don't expect anybody to be at this point. And then third sign is that how you treat your body is directly correlated to how you feel about it that day. I will say that again because this really, really hits. How you treat your body is directly correlated to how you feel about it that day. I'm feeling thick. I'm not gonna have any carbs today. I'm feeling fat. I'm gonna say no to all cookies that I see. I'm not having any sweets today. Or I'm feeling good. I deserve to have this pizza because I liked how I looked in the mirror. So if how you treat your body, if the foods that you eat, if the meals that you make change day to day depending on how you feel about it, that is really not a good sign. And again, that is comes with the benefit of tracking food, not only tracking food consistently, but tracking food and hitting your scheduled and programmed macros or calories or following the plan so that you get rid of those like, oh well, this will change depending on how I feel. I'm going to push off lunch. I'm going to have 6 to 8 hours between each meal now because I feel this way today or because I did this today. How you eat every day really should not change. So the path to intuitive eating, tracking macros, like I said, I like to explain it as like it's the training wheels. Okay, we all got to have that. And I think a lot of times we focus so much on jumping to the end. Same thing with like a lot of clients. They're like, oh, well, I want to lose fat, so I'm ready to start dieting. When in reality, we start tracking your food, you've actually been dieting, you've been under eating, you've been eating 13, 14, 1500 calories for years. Unfortunately, your body will not respond to a diet right now because you're already in a diet and your body's being unresponsive. And I think a lot of times we think we can like cut corners and whatnot, but it's kind of like, I don't know if anybody's like an artist, if you're, painting stuff, but you got to do like layers first. You first got to get like the outline and you got to fill things in. And then finally you can like, glaze it over or whatever. I don't know. I'm obviously not an artist, so maybe that wasn't the best example, but there's layers that you got to do first. You cannot just skip to the end goal, right? You can't just open a book and read the last chapter and expect to fully comprehend that entire book and be able to say that you read it and recite it to people. So tracking macros is really where it starts. And we got to fully dive into that and commit to that for 3 to 6 months. You must know the foundations of proper nourishment. And again, if you don't really see what's wrong with eating 15 or even 16, 1700 calories year round or all the time, that's where the foundations of proper nourishment have not fully clicked yet. And that is okay. Again, that's a huge benefit of training with frequency is that not only will we get you the results, but you'll understand why. You'll have that education of proper nourishment forever for yourself, for your kids, family, whatever that is. And again, understanding how many grams of protein should you eat? When should you adjust your carbs? When should you do some sort of like fast, or when should you increase or lower fat, or when should whatever, like all of these things, being able to know the foundations of proper nourishment. You must have the ability to self-regulate. Again, those moments, we're all going to have moments where we feel a little chunky, we feel a little thicker on these days, we feel a little heavy, we feel bloated. If you do not have the ability to self-regulate those feelings, those thoughts about yourself, if all you know is to manipulate literally your life source, right? Your food, the thing that keeps you alive, if that's the only way that you know how to regulate yourself and your thoughts about your body, we got some work to do. So you have to have that ability to self-regulate, which again is one of the reasons why we focus on stress management, mindset, thoughts around food. What are we doing this weekend? Can we regulate how we are around buffets or whatever the situation is? You must be able to listen and honor your body's needs. Again, being able to know when you're hungry, or at least when you'll be hungry. If I know that if I'm going on a boat for 6 hours, I gotta bring not only snacks, I probably gotta bring a full meal. I should probably bring like a sandwich or some pasta salad or something like that, because I know that around noon I get hungry, or 4 p.m. or whatever that is. So being able to listen as well as honor your body's needs. So that is it. That is all. Any comments, questions, concerns, anything that hit, resonated?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard the term and I use the term in the past mindful eating, and I'm curious if there's a difference, if you have a different definition for both of them, just like really curious about the two.
That to me, it sounds pretty much exactly the same. I've heard that as well. I kind of interpret it as the same thing. So yeah, mindful. And to me, intuitive, the word relates a little bit more to body, like your intuition. At least when I think of my intuition, I feel it like I feel around here, like my heart, my body. And to me, mindfulness would be maybe more in your mind. I don't know. That's kind of the only thing. So I would say maybe just a preference of words, whatever kind of resonates more. So maybe we can look that up though, see if there's any difference that other people have come up with. But I like that term as well.
Mhm. Cool. That's all I had.
Cool. Deborah said something. Love the layers of painting analogy. Yes. Yeah. A lot of times we try to skip over something that's absolutely crucial, and that's the feed phase or the metabolic rehab phase or working your calories up or tracking macros, right? We want so excited to get to the end, but there's a reason, I always like to put it out there. It's not as easy as just cutting back, slashing calories and moving more, or else I literally wouldn't have a job, right? Like there would not be such a huge fitness and nutrition industry. We would all be able to be successful. We cut food for a little bit, but that's where things get tricky is because your metabolism adapts, your body adapts. So yeah, there's layers to this, and we want to make sure that we're not spending your entire life trying to lose body fat. Thanks, Megan. Glad that she loved it. Hey, Miss Kayla. She's driving. Cool. Anybody else? Anybody have any questions about the challenge as well? I should ask that too. No? All right, cool. Well, thank you guys for spending your Tuesday evening with me. Stay safe, get some lovely sleep tonight, and I'll see you next week. Bye.